Hi all, Hal here with more Space Engineers, and today we're going to resolve at least one of the problems we've been having. We're going to mount all of these drones onto a pocket carrier. That way when the AI is fixed, then we'll be able to actually engage. But first, we have to get started, so let's go. So, happy Monday, everybody. Hopefully you had a fantastic weekend and are having a terrific day thus far. Alright, so what we're doing is the Great Vehicle Shuffle. Basically, we're just trying to get things out of the way so that we have a little bit of room to work in here, because we're going to be building pretty much in the hangar. There we go. Okay, and he's got plenty of power for several days, so we'll just leave him off with the thrusters. All right. So what we're going to do is, in this space that we have, I'm going to put in, or I'm going to build effectively what's a pocket carrier. What I want to have is, I actually want to have a system in place, or a ship built, that is, for the most part, just going to kind of hang out here in the hangar. And so we've put a connector in back here that it's going to connect to. But because of the fact that it needs to be a separate grid, I can't use the merge block. When I use the merge block with the carrier AI portion, the programmable blocks for the AI, it does weird things. It basically sees it as being mounted to the same grid as the command center. And like I said, from what I've been told, is that it should work. So it's probably something on my end. Don't go rage against RDev, because like I said, RDev does amazing work. I just haven't really had a chance to sit down and go through everything and try and figure out why it's not working. It also may be just that the grid is so big that it doesn't know how to handle everything that's going on with it. So in order to get rid of, the potential of it, because it's on a static grid versus a ship grid versus everything on one grid, we're gonna have it so this will be its own ship. It'll be connected into the primary grid via the connector, which should work, because the way Space Engineers tracks grids and unique grids stops at the edge of that connector. All right, so as long as it's not actually merging to the big grid, it should be okay. And then so what we'll end up with is something that will have the ability to go out on its own if it needs to. With the drones will be able to launch and recover. And the ship itself will have I don't want to say it'll have a hab area, but it'll definitely have a player area, if for no other reason than just for like a control deck. So it's going to should be a fairly straight build. I'm not expecting it to be too complex, but we do need to get a few things. Let's get rid of the merge block. We're going to do landing gear, and this will be a large grid ship, which should hopefully be obvious at this point, but just in case. All right. And we are going to have you come up 1, 2, to there, I think. Of course, I am using heavy armor blocks. Yeah, that's fine. It's not like we don't have the resources for it, right? Okay. Now, the reason why I'm going in this particular direction with the build is because I want to have enough room for all 6 drones to have their own little area. I don't know if we're going to go individual hangars or not. I think what we're going to do is do a 3x1 drone bay. So basically it'll be a row of 3 drones, and they'll be facing either port or starboard, whichever way gets them off the center line fastest. And then we'll have some batteries in here, which I think we're going to put batteries along the keel here, which is where this is going to be. And then directly below that, we're going to have the antenna mount. Now, the antenna mount is going to be odd because basically what we're going to end up with is where we are right now is the back of the ship. Yeah, see? Confusing, right? Because in order to use the fleet command script with the carrier and have the carrier be remote controlled, the antenna has to be pointing to the front of the ship. So that's something that we have to plan around. In fact, before I go any further, don't need the landing gear anymore, but we do need the antenna. And so we are going to set up our antenna like so. And that way we already have that done. Now I do need a couple of programmable blocks, so I'm thinking for those, you know what we may do? Let's go like this instead, because we're going to end up with that being true anyway. There we go. And what we will do here is we will place the conveyor, and we'll place the connector. Now I may come back and resculpt all of this because we're really just doing semi-temporary block placement at this point. But we need the vehicles, we need the drones to be able to reload and rearm. Let's see, you guys have slightly more hit points than the conveyor tubes. So I think what we'll do is we'll just run a line of these. Come here, you. Run a line of these down the keel here. Alright, now I'm not quite sure how much room I'm going to need for each one of these. What I'm thinking is that we'll basically keep what we have here, so it'll be the block that it mounts to. And then, you know, I'll block around each, or 2 blocks around. They are small, so we should be able to get away with, let's go, yeah. Alright, and then if we say this is going to be the mount point, that gives us a fairly good idea of where we need spacing. Okay, so you are there. Alright, and let's see here. That's going to give us 1, 2, 2. Oh, that's actually pretty good as far as placement's concerned. Okay, so we bring this out. What was that, 4 blocks? And then you guys are basically like here. And like I said, I will probably come back and clean up the lines a little bit, make it look stylish. Alright. And that allows us to have thrusters mounted underneath.
Meteor storm inbound.
We'll have conveyors here. And one of the benefits of running this many conveyor blocks is that, because we need the connector at the same plane. Okay. But yeah, one of the benefits of having so many conveyors is that this also gives us attachment points for other places in the network if we need it. There we go. So if we wanted to put turrets or something on this thing, which we probably will. There, okay. And then you guys are going to be connector 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. And so that gives us, for the most part, that gives us what we need as far as spacing is concerned. We have the ability to walk down in here to do maintenance if we need to. I am tempted to put a bob on here, honestly. Actually, I'm tempted to put 2 bobs on here. We could put them like right here, since we're not going to be able to place any turrets in this area anyway because of the antenna. The closest we'd be able to put turrets is on this block. So if we put a bob, so if we put a bob here and then a second bob on the other side, and basically that will allow us to have our drones repair themselves. Because what we can do then is we can put cargo in, because we're going to need this anyway. Let's grab cargo block. Let's go 2 cargo blocks. We're going to wrap this with a little bit of armor probably. But I'm thinking programmable block here. And programmable block there. All right. Now I'm not going to place these yet. What I'm thinking is that the spaces here outside of the cargo blocks will be batteries all the way down. So we'll end up with 2, 4, 8 batteries on this thing. And we want the build repair units. Don't need another antenna. Let's see, that's front, rear, left, right. Let's go that way. And over here, we're going to flip this around so that we have right and left. There we go. There we go. Alright. Okay. That's the beginnings of our carrier. Now, the question that I have is, do we want to put the command deck on the front of this thing? Or do we want to have it sitting up over the hangar area? Because what I'm thinking is we could have basically do this like a I don't want to say like an aircraft carrier where you have the tower and command deck off to one side and above, but definitely have it either forward or back, overlooking the ship. And I'm thinking it might actually be better to have it back. Alright, so if we do a flight deck like that, and we have our command deck here versus having command deck here. Or even, I mean, we could, if we were so inclined. Let's go. So if we did something like that, and we're actually going to end up with, honestly, we're going to end up with something that goes at least out that far.
Energy critical.
To offer us some protection on the ship itself. Am I really out of plates? I'm out of plates. Huh. Alright, let's grab some power really quick. And this is one of the reasons why I move these ships around a little bit. Is because this one, the ship that we're in, the little courier ship, this thing actually has an opening on the port side. The other ship over there has it on the starboard. So I moved them to make it easier to get in and out of the ships in the case I need to get some power quickly. Now, the other ship, that little guy there, actually has a med bay on it. So it's faster to use that one, but there's no O2 generator on either of them, so yeah, is what it is. We'll make do. Like I said, that's going to be the front. So we have 2 bulbs. We're going to throw a couple of... Oh, I need plates. We're going to throw a couple of gyros on this thing. I may end up actually adding more than what I've currently got planned. Should be more than enough. But you never know. And we've got control panel facing down. Alright, so if we go like so, and then let's keep the lines simple. This may actually end up being taller because we're going to have enough room for the drone. In fact, can I see those drones? Nope. Okay. Alright, let's get the stuff out of our hand here. I want RC. Did I not disconnect one of you? Okay, let's try that again. Oh, what is it? Maybe RFC interceptor. Turn that off for a second. There we go. Do I not actually have a thruster group? Alright. And groups, thruster. I forgot there's a camera. Alright, so basically we're trying to get an idea of just how much room we need All right. Like I said, it doesn't have to be anything overly exact. Alright. Okay, so it needs to come up at least 2 blocks at this point. And I'll show you why here in a second. Because of that turret takes up effectively 1 large block, so maybe even 3. I mean, I guess we could get away with like a half block there. So, because basically what we're needing to do is we want this to be able to dock up safely and easily without too much problem. So if we go RC, let's grab the control on this. I think that's pretty close, right? No, not as close as I would like it to be. Okay. So we're going to grab this really quick one more time. All right. So yeah, that should be enough room for this guy to get out of here. Now, one of the things about this mod, and the mod author has said specifically in there, is you basically want as many cameras as you feel comfortable putting on the vehicle. The more cameras you have in as many directions as possible gives it better ability or better awareness of what's around it. So what we're going to end up doing is this block right here. Turn on our light. So this block right here, we're going to put a camera on it facing down. And then we're going to have a camera probably on one of these blocks, like say this block here, and on the other side. And then we'll have one more probably on top of the cargo container, because I think that's the same. Oh no, I did it on the back of that. So yeah, we'll probably put it on the cargo container, just for the sake of having one in, basically each direction. And what I'm hoping for is that will allow us to have as much control over it as possible. Actually, I'll probably put the camera here on both sides. That way it's actually protected a little bit. And you are piped in on that side. So yeah, we'll put the camera up, maybe even put the camera here at the top. I don't know. We'll figure it out when we get to that point. But like I said, I wanted to make sure that this was going to be enough room for us to get everybody in here, and it looks like it will. Given the thrusters. Yeah, given the thrusters, I want to play it safe, so we'll leave the extra space in there, and then I'll take all of those off. We'll mount a couple over here, like put one at the end of this piece, and I'm thinking this is probably going to come forward one more. If we do that height. Let's check this really quick. on 2. So if I have you blocked to there, should be okay. And it's gonna, so yeah, it'll have to be here. Which means at the least we're going a half block here. So if we do something like this, and you are there, what did we do? 3 of those. And we'll bring these over like so. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. That's going to be a pretty beefy ship. In fact, I need to move this guy out of the way. Right. But now you're seeing why I started this in the hangar, so that we could actually make sure that we have all of our spacing. So what I'll probably do is I'm thinking I'm going to build a platform for this guy to land on. So because we have so much space in this hangar, I mean, it was originally intended for the escape ship to park over here, and have the entire ship be, you know, inside of a sealed hangar. But as things have progressed, you know, we don't necessarily continue doing the same things we were doing before, right? There we go. So we'll end up with something that is probably a bit like this. And so we go there, we go there, and you come out of there. Do something like that, maybe. So what I'm thinking is that we end up with something that effectively something like that. Now this we can get away with doing that with. And thinking, what if we do something along these lines? Oop, wrong blocks. There we go. Now we bring this beast back this way. And then if we want to, we can actually just go ahead and basically load all of that up. And we can then go something along these lines. If we then say, let's get rid of that for right now. We're gonna grab you guys. And take that out. All right. So we're kind of getting into the greebling process at this point. So, like I said, I'm expecting this to basically blend in here. We'll see how we get everything to work out. I may even, instead of that, if we do actually, no. There we go. If we do that, and then say something like that, maybe. Yeah, see? It all starts coming together eventually, right? And we'll basically have the same thing on this side. Just going to be like so. We'll figure all that out in a bit. Alright, and you're going to come down this way. I'll probably need to blend that in better. So what I'm thinking here is maybe do that. And that blends to there. Which blends to there, and then we can bring that up like so. Oop. Helps if I use the right blocks there. There we go. Alright, and then that brings us to this point, which gives us a mostly encapsulated ship at that point. Now I could do something like that. I think we're just going to go for this. And now what I'll probably do is come back and cut some of these out to put in things like the vertical and horizontal thrusters, because we don't have any of that plotted yet, which is part of what I'm planning here, is that we'll probably have the thrusters cut into the side, both fore and aft on both sides. That gets us a pretty good beginnings for the ship. Alright. Now the only other thing that we're talking about doing that I haven't decided 100% on yet is having something here with the hangar door. So the hangar door is actually going to have to come up one. So I'm thinking maybe we'll just leave these open then. That's probably going to be the best way to do that. Alright. So if we bring this back, like so. And what I can do here is we can do that. And that gives us our separation between the bays. Yeah. Now the question is the autopilot remote control going to be able to handle that? Because that is kind of tight there. So we're going to end up with something like this. And I guess if we really want it to be fancy with the whole thing, we could run something like this down the line here. And the idea being that we could have an LCD here and then a second LCD here. Just so that the drone can figure out where it needs to go a little bit better. Alright, let's take a look at this. Get that out. Okay, I'm kind of liking that as a hangar module. So the big question will be, can the remote control AI actually take off and land from that area? And that'll be the big question. And we're back. Okay, so I didn't get quite everything done that I had wanted to, but I did make a decision on the crew area. I think we're going to keep it simple. Like I said, realistically, this ship is not something that people are going to be on all too frequently, because the whole idea behind it is that it's supposed to be part of the AI fleet. So we've put a simple cockpit in. It is just one of the industrial cockpits. Now, the reason I went with the industrial cockpit in this particular case is a couple of reasons.
Critical.
One, I am actually going to relocate it.
Inventory full.
Because I actually meant to put it here. There we go. Just go ahead and grab this thing. Because it's got the its connector port is on top. I had thought of using the regular cockpit, but the problem that we run into is that one is the connectors on the bottom. And I wanted the, if you're going to have a flight seat on it, I want the flight seat to be inside the envelope of the armor, not external. So if I had gone the other way with this and we had removed the blocks to put in the O2 generator, and so that we could flush mount the cockpit on top, you would end up with the cockpit being effectively in between the two thrusters. Now, yes, I know this thing looks ugly as hell right this second. We will come back and rework some of this. But like I said, realistically, the ship isn't built for anything other than getting drones where they need to be. It doesn't have to be speedy. It does not have to be nimble. So we're going with that design in mind. And we are going to hop in this cockpit really quick. Okay. Yay! Now, part of the reason for this, like I said, is it gives you a much better view of what's going on in the hangar. Having this set up so that we can actually see if the drones are deployed, if we're having problems with deployment, is a little bit better than having the ship or having the command position be on top of the hangar envelope itself. Alright, so I'm thinking that's going to be pretty good. Alright. Actually, so let's cut the gear off because we have all of our thrusters. We have thrusters in every direction. We have 2 gyros, so we're good. What I want to do is, and hopefully that all works. Awesome. All right. Now, one little thing I do want to do, and only because of the fact that it will bug me otherwise, we're going to go with these because I think it makes sense to be able to see the antenna. There you go. And so when those are welded up, you'll still be able to see the antenna in there. You know. So, see? There's still an antenna in there. Yay. Okay. Alright. And that's just, you know, make it look a little bit more finished. Alright. Okay, so we want to change this. You are going to come off.
Inventory full.
Because we're going to have that come out one more. And that's just basically to keep the thrusters from rubbing up against the wall. Missing motors and computers. Bob will get this in a second, hopefully. Alright. Bob's got some weird priorities on what he's working on here. Alright, so... Alright. And we've already set all of the other connectors to 0 strength. So let's bring in our view just a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to swing this beast around. See if we can do this and not blow everything up. Now, obviously, I don't have any cameras on this thing or anything that would make this process a little bit easier, and that is that is going to be a problem. What we're trying to do is basically bring this thing around so that we can get more bobs on it a little bit faster. Make sure we're not going to slam into any of the other ships. That would be horrible. Looks like we are a little off center. should... Oh. And actually, I'm going to do this. Have you set here. We're going to have you switch lock. There we go. And now it's actually piped in. And before we go too much further, that lighting's going to bug me otherwise. Oh, let's go. Lights. So you... Let's try that again. There's one there. And one there. Okay. All right. Let's take these to 8.5. Do a 3-point fall off, and we're going to cut the intensity in half. That should be enough internal light. And then what we'll do is we'll set up, I think we're going to drop an LCD behind each of these. Just do like a corner LCD, and we'll have it basically be bay 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Something like that. And then what we'll do is, thinking we'll actually mount an LCD, like an angled, or one of the sloped LCDs. So we could go something like that. And let's see here. I want it to be like that, I think. Yeah. Yep, that's what I want. Okay. Now, because of the fact that when you're flying, you're not actually going to be generally in this perspective anyway, what I want to have is an LCD that says, basically that's tracking information, telling me what the status is of all 6 drones. So I want it to show if it's connected or not, and if it is connected, how much ammo does it have on board. Maybe even power time, like how much of a charge does it have. That might be good to do, but I'll probably have to play around with setting that up. But I think we'll do that next time. I'm going to go ahead and call this one here. I want to thank y'all for stopping in. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Given any luck, I'm going to keep working on the AI conflict that I seem to be having. I may need to just try changing up the load order some more, or maybe removing some of the hostile AIs, like remove some of the encounter stuff, because like I said, I think it really is just coming down to the AI, the spawn list getting swamped, because I've got so many encounter types loaded that I think it's not getting to them, because we're still getting things like the peaceful shuttles and the pirate spawns and the random encounter mod stuff. So I have a really strong suspicion that that's the problem. So what we'll do is later this week we'll have all of that sorted out. I want to get this thing built first before I go focusing too much on it, because I want to make sure these guys work with everything as it is. If these things work, then we'll deal with everything else, right? So, on that note, I'm going to get out of here. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure you hit that like button. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to throw those down in the section below. If you're new to the channel, haven't done so already, or just want to do something nice for me on a lovely Monday, be sure to hit that subscribe. And even if you don't, I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. We will see you back here on Wednesday for more Space Engineers and hopefully a more functional carrier ship. As always, folks, take care and be safe out there, everybody. So we'll move some of this other stuff around so it's out of the way. Get the drones linked in and start closing this thing up, I think. Not too much more to do. Oh, I need to squeeze in another programmable block somewhere. I mean, I guess I could put it up in here, like behind this thing. It's probably about the best place for it.